right, guys. This is a historic time to be an AcceleRacers fan. This is a historic video for this channel. I can't contain my excitement right now. This is something that I have been advocating for the past 10 to 15 years. As of this year, it has been 20 years since the AcceleRacers cars hit the pegs in 2005. And now, 20 years later, in 2025, the AcceleRacers have returned, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Tesla's Cube. My name is AcceleReece, and this is my review of the Hot Wheels Silver Series Semi-Premium AcceleRacers set of 5 cars. I'm sure many of you are going to be asking, so I'm just going to address it now. As of the making of this video, these cars are slowly making their way across the US and across the world. So they are technically out, but also not at the same time. They're out for some people and not for others. Right now in the US, they've only been found on the West Coast, that being California, Arizona, Nevada, Oregon. I think they've been found in like Utah, and they're just starting to make their way to the Midwest. They're very slowly rolling out, and it's still very early in the release cycle. It kind of seems like they're going to slowly make their way across the country from west to east. So folks on the East Coast, like myself, we might have to wait a little bit. You'll probably start finding them in early to mid-September is when I would start looking. Yes, unfortunately, these are only available at Walmart. I don't know where you could buy cases of them. I haven't really seen any vendors online selling cases. I don't think third-party vendors get themed entertainment, which is what this set is, by the way. This is the themed entertainment subsection of Silver Series. These are pretty much out all over Canada. So if you're Canadian and watching this, go search your Walmarts right now. They're out in Canada. Canada's actually where I got these imported from for this video. They're also out in Malaysia. I've heard they're out in Singapore. I think they're starting to roll out in Australia as well. If you would like to keep track of where these cars have been found and where they're being released, we do have a post on the AcceleRacers subreddit that is pinned on the homepage, where we are keeping track of all the reports of where these cars have been found. I will put a link to that in the description. I highly recommend you checking that out if you want to stay updated on where these cars are showing up and when, so that you can go find your own set. These cars come in cases of 10. There's 2 of every car, so there's 2 sets in every case. Now, this is probably going to be a long video because there is a lot to unpack here, pun intended, because we are going to go through each one of these cars, take a look at its packaging artwork. We're going to review the car, take a look at it and all of its nooks and crannies, and then we're going to compare them to the original versions, which I have all out on the review table today. But before we get into that, I just want to talk about the packaging for a little bit. So, like I said before, in 2005, the original cars released on packaging that looked a lot like this. They were much bigger than a normal like Hot Wheels mainline card. This is what the back looked like. It was in color, very high quality. You had the car, you had the pack of 3 trading cards. You could see the team on the right. You'd had 1 character to represent each team on the left, so all of the Metal Maniacs had Torque there on the left. And this blue background with the Wheel of Power you can see in the background. AcceleRacers logo, real big up top there. This is the iconic packaging from the Series 1 AcceleRacers from 2005. Then in 2006, we had the Series 2 AcceleRacers, which looked a little something like this. Honestly, I think this is an improvement. No trading cards this time. We got a sticker. Actually, there's 2 stickers in there. It says right there on the package. Got a smaller AcceleRacers logo. Track stars up there. You can see the name of the car. Got some Acceleron symbols down there on the bottom. So that was Series 2 of AcceleRacers. We kind of just fit that in there. And now, 19 years after 2006, we have the third packaging style for the AcceleRacers, which is this Silver Series. Now, what is the Silver Series? Well, right now in the Hot Wheels line, they have their normal $1 main lines that you can find at pretty much any store. Then there are Hot Wheels Premiums, which are range from like $6 to $7 right now. And those get two-piece wheels with rubber tires. They get full deco with inkjet printing. They get all the shebang, all the high quality stuff. And those sorts of premium series usually are reserved for like real licensed cars for car culture enthusiasts. So for a while, the idea of an AcceleRacers set of re-releases was floating around, but there just really wasn't an avenue for them. There were these themed cars at Walmart that were about $2. They were kind of just regular main lines with a few extra bells and whistles. But as prices went up, Hot Wheels decided to change it to something called the Silver Series, where they kind of upped the ante on them and made them what they call semi-premium, which is basically, this is between basic mainline and premium. And so with this new moniker and higher budget, it was the perfect avenue for the AcceleRacers. And so they made it happen. This packaging art is just gorgeous. I did a video looking at this packaging art when it was first revealed, but just to talk about it again here, we got a nice render of the car, the wheel of power in the background there. It's driving on some orange Acceleron track through the Accelodrome. This artwork was done by Omar Rivero, a packaging designer at Hot Wheels. But these character illustrations were contracted designs done by Jamie Puga. This artwork is just super cool. We got the AcceleRacers logo down here, and something that I didn't realize in the first video, I don't know if you can see it, but behind the car there, you have the team logo. Maybe you'll be able to see that once we open these up, but I just want to get a shot of all three of these together. So there you go. You got 3 generations of Hot Wheels AcceleRacers packaging. 3 different eras. Same car too. All right, back to the review. All right, this is a crazy exciting video that I've been anticipating making for a long time, so I'm having a hard time figuring out where to start, but honestly, I think maybe we should just go down through the cars one by one. They are numbered 1 through 5. I have them in order, as you can see. So I think we should review each car as they are numbered. Starting with number 1.
We need to talk.
Number 1 in the set is Iridium on Team Silencers. Before we open it up, let's take a quick look at the packaging here. This render of Iridium is very cool looking. It's got this silver sort of almost chromatic look to it. It's very shiny, kind of in contrast to the car, but we'll get to that in a sec. You can see the Silencers logo behind the car there on the packaging. You got the AcceleRacers logo and everything. Unfortunately, the illustration of the character here, it's the wrong Silencers driver. This should be the helmet of, spoiler alert, Major Wheeler, but they use the generic Silencers soldier helmet, as I'm guessing they probably used the wrong reference for the illustrator, but it's whatever. But even though we got the wrong driver, that's all right. This artwork still looks really cool. I love the way the headlights are just like beaming through. These are my very first copies of these cars, by the way. So this is my first experience with them, reviewing them. They had pretty much just arrived in the mail, and then I just immediately put them on my review table to review. So this is my first impressions of these cars. It almost pains me to have to open them, but so without further ado, let's get Iridium out of its plastic prison. All right, he is out of the package, and unfortunately I did have to rip the packaging a bit to get him out, but I just wanted to show you that Silencers logo in the card art there that would be hidden behind the car. So there's the packaging without the car, in case you were interested. All right, so Iridium. Here it is, the new 2025 version of Iridium. Onto the turntable. It has a gray plastic body, no paint. It has a black painted metal base. We got purple AS6 wheels with a silver rim. Purple window, purple graphics on the side, and a purple stripe down the middle. We'll talk about that in a sec. And we got full headlight and grille details that are ink jetted. So first impressions of this car, it is the 2014 retool. So of course it does feel different than the original Iridium casting. It is not the original Iridium casting. We'll get to that when we get to the comparison. The gray is just gray plastic. You can tell it's not painted. It feels a little cheap, but I mean, what are you gonna do? This new wheel type is not a CM6 wheel. It is a new wheel type for Silver Series called AS6, AcceleRacers 6-spoke. It is a single piece wheel that is trying to mimic the CM6. So it's so the whole thing is basically transparent purple, and then they paint the silver rim on top. The spokes, it might be hard to see on camera, but there is space between the spokes. That there are holes between the spokes. You can kind of see it there on the left side of the wheel here. So when you have them in hand, they look a lot better than they might in pictures. This pretty much looks exactly like it did with the prototype that they revealed at the convention back in April. They said it was going back for some color changes, but to me, it looks exactly the same pretty much. The window and tire color it's a bit off. The purple just isn't quite right, and I think it is the most noticeable with the stripe going across the window, because on the original Iridium, it's just one big bubble window that goes down through the middle. So graphics are done by both tampos and inkjet printing. What car gets depends on where they allocated the budget. It looks to me like this graphic on the side is a tampo, which is basically like a stamp that only has 4 colors. And then these details with the stripe and the front grille with the headlights, those are inkjet printed. So they are printed on, and sometimes inkjet printing can look a little fuzzy and digital looking, which is one thing that tampos do have over inkjet printing is they look a bit more crisp, but they're limited on what surfaces they can put them on, whereas inkjet printing, they can kind of just put it anywhere. So these cars kind of have a mixture of inkjet printing and tampos, which the inkjet allows for more details, like this front grille. No taillights. The taillights are not detailed as they are in the movies. We do have the purple graphic though, which on the original car was silver. The purple graphic is more accurate to the movie. Something about the gray color just doesn't feel right. In the movies, the silencers were all kind of like a white color, but they looked gray specifically in the pipeline realm, the neon pipeline realm. So I'm wondering if the material that they used as reference when making these, if they used the pipeline realm for Iridium, and that's why it's in this sort of gray silver. All right, well, let's grab the original Iridium and do the comparison. This is what you guys probably really wanted to see. The differences, even in just the weight, I can feel the differences. This one's just a lot weightier than this one. This one's very light, which isn't always a bad thing, by the way, because this car is probably going to be really good for track. All the original AcceleRacers had plastic bodies, but they were painted using different methods to look more metallic. I think a lot of AcceleRacers fans are still convinced that some of these cars had metal bodies, but no, they all had plastic bodies. I guess the first difference I'll point out is the graphics on the original silencers on the toys were all silver. And now they are purple, which is, the purple looks much better. This is one thing I think the new one did better than the old one. Of course, the wheels are different. You know, AS6, CM6. Here is the CM6 and the AS6 side by side. As you can see, the CM6 does have a bit more detail. Oh, no red dots, by the way. The axle caps on these new cars do not have red dots. I think they wanted to do it, but it would have been a whole extra step in the manufacturing process, so they couldn't do it really to keep costs down. So yep, those are the new wheels side by side with the old ones. I know some people are going to complain. They're going to say the CM6s are better in every way, but this is a compromise they had to make to get these released, because Silver Series was kind of the only avenue they had, because these are fantasy cars and a lot of the premium lines are for mostly licensed cars. The obvious big difference here is the window. This is just one big bubble that goes down the middle You can see it cuts through. Whereas here they made that middle part of the body. And on most releases of the retool, this does not get painted, but because we're in semi-premium and can use inkjet printing, they tried to put a purple thing here to match the window, but unfortunately the color doesn't match, and there's still some gray outlines there. So it looks a little funky. I would say the color of the inkjet printing is screen accurate, but then the color of the window just really isn't. I don't know if they were kind of struggled to get those colors to match with the different materials or what sort of happened there. So the original casting was tab and post. And what that means is there is a rivet post here on the back. And then on the front, tab or slot is where it slots through the body. So the front grille here is actually a part of the base, and it slots through the body there and holds it in place. So that's how we get that black grille there on the original. Now, the reason cars get retooled, most of the retools happened around 2013 to 2014 is when the manufacturing standards changed. And that was because back then, a pair of human hands usually would put all the parts of the cars together, would assemble the car. Now cars are vertically sandwiched together by a machine because cutting labor is what cuts costs. So unfortunately, a lot of cars with more complicated builds had to be retooled, and some cars even just ended up on the chopping block and were discontinued. With the Silver Series, they only really have a budget for about 2 slots with more premium tooling builds. Then the rest have to basically be basic castings. So this one is gonna be one of those basics. But they tried to cover up a lot of it with inkjet printing, which I can appreciate the effort. That being said though, I think the inkjet printed front end there looks much better, even if it isn't like a part break. With the headlights shaded in, I think that looks much better and more accurate to the movie. As I'm sure you noticed, the purple on the window and the wheels are much different color-wise. On the original Iridium, this part here, the spoiler, and then this little rear part here, you can see the part break there. This is a separate piece. There is separation between the fender and the spoiler. I can actually like fit my fingernail through it. Whereas on the retool, they tooled it onto the body here. So the spoiler is now part of the body. And as you can see, they have connected the end of the spoiler to the fender there. So there's not like a really thin kind of separation. So yeah, we got 2 rivets now. It's the two rivet rule. So we got a rivet on the front here. The rivet on the front is probably why they had to tool out this whole thing with the window. So it's give and take. I think both of these cars do some things better than the others. I think the graphics are stronger on the new one with the purple. Of course, the wheels are going to be better on the Iridium and pretty much all of them. And with the separate spoiler, it looks much better, and this part looking much better. But I think the new one did the detailing on the front end a lot better with the headlights and everything. So it's give or take. I mean, this is the cheaper option. You'll be able to find this on the pegs for $4 at Walmart. And yeah, who knows what the heck this is going for on eBay these days. I stopped paying attention to the eBay prices long ago because every time I look at them, they just make me sad. That's why these re-releases are so important, because those prices aren't coming down anytime soon. And so this is a very nice alternative for AcceleRacers fans who are not really integrated into the collecting hobby, who just want these cars and don't want to be victims of, you know, collector gatekeeping. So that was Major Wheeler's Iridium in the new set. I think this car is the weakest of the set, which is unfortunate for it being number 1, the first one we have to look at. But just because it is the weakest in the set doesn't mean it is bad. I do still think it is a very cool car. I think we should move on to car number 2, and this one I'm really excited for.
Nobody beats Kurt Wild.
Number 2 of the set is Kurt Wild's Teku Sling Shot. And oh my gosh. So in case you didn't know, AcceleRacers is a sequel series to Hot Wheels Highway 35 World Race, and some of the characters from that return in AcceleRacers. Burt Wheeler drove the Diora 2, Taro Kitano drove a 70 Plymouth Roadrunner, And Kurt Weill drove Sling Shot, and those cars return in the first movie in Teku and Metal Maniac's liveries, respectively, before they are wiped out and destroyed in the first realm so they can be replaced with the new toys. But those Teku and Maniac versions of those 3 cars were never released until now. The Teku Dior 2 came out as an NFT redeemable, and then they also did a simpler version for the main line for those who couldn't get the NFT one, which is pretty cool. They haven't gotten to the Roadrunner yet, but they did use this set as an opportunity to do Sling Shot. And if you know me, Sling Shot is my favorite Hot Wheels casting of all time. This car is my favorite, and the Teku version is one of my favorite liveries for it. So this is probably the most anticipated Hot Wheels release for me in the past like 15 years. Holy crap, I am so excited to be holding an officially released Hot Wheels AcceleRacers Teku Sling Shot. It's surreal. It's like my brain is not processing if this is happening right now. All right, I gotta collect myself here. Let's talk about the packaging. So we got the artwork here of the render of the car. As I pointed out in the packaging video, there is separation in the spoiler there, like the original tooling, while this one is the retool with the closed spoiler, which we'll get to in the comparison. So yeah, being a little cheeky there, I see. You can see the graphics actually go up into the side panel there, but they were not able to do that for the diecast. It's kind of hard to see, but behind Sling Shot, there is a Teku logo back there. Number 2 of 5 is a pretty cool render. Here is the sketch of Kurt done by Jamie Puga. Everyone has been pointing out his cheekbones and how he's just like straight up mewing. All right, without further ado, let's get him out of the packaging here. There is, for those of you watching at home, you see this kind of, yeah, there's an opening here in the blister where you're actually supposed to get your finger in there and you can separate the blister from the card. Oh, it hurts. Oh, it hurts. All right. Oh, shoot, I forgot to show the back. This is what the back of the cards look like. You got the other cars in the set there, and then it's just a lot of information. This might be international packaging, because I did get it imported from Canada. And there's AcceleRacers logo right there on the back, which is pretty cool. But yeah, that's the back of the packaging. All right, with that packaging opened up now, you can see that Teku logo in there. All right, so, oh man, I'm really excited for this one. Oh, this is so cool. It is the retool, but I don't even care. This is so cool. A Teku Sling Shot in 2025. This is crazy. All right, we're gonna put it up on the turntable. This is a metal body, enamel white. It's got a chrome plastic base. We got aqua blue windows, just like in the movie. And we got solid black AS6s with the chrome rim, which this is the only one that has it in opaque black. We got a chrome interior as well. I don't even think I mentioned the interior on Iridium. I couldn't see it. I believe all the graphics on this are tampos, which is a shame because if they used inkjet printing, they could have got more like up into the side panel. And of course, the blue is supposed to continue up over the front fender there and then connect to the blue parts in the front here. But of course, they could not pull that off with just tampos. We got Teku logo on the side with a break there. Clone Teku. These logos here are not exactly accurate. I'll throw up some pictures of the model sheet from the show's production. There is supposed to be logos like on top of the panel here as well, but they only put like some on the side. I don't know if that has to do with limitations with the tampos or if those smaller logos were just too ineligible for them to read. So they just said, screw it, just put a little bit of a cluster here and call it a day. So that's a shame. That's pretty much the only accuracy point against it, besides the closed spoiler. Now, you know, I don't really have much control over that because of the way this car was retooled. I reviewed Sling Shot for my Hot Wheels Originals review series, and in that review, I actually take apart an original Sling Shot and show you the original tooling. The original tooling was very complicated, so I totally understand why this had to be retooled this way. But when we do the comparison, I'll show that to you. Now, surprisingly, the taillights are shaded in, and I believe this would be inkjet printing. Kind of hard to tell because they're so small, but yeah, I think they inkjet printed the taillights, which is like super cool. The base is chrome, so is the interior. We got Teku there on the hood. Oh, it feels so good. It feels so good to hold an official Teku Sling Shot in my hands like this. It's crazy, this is nuts. Oh, we're so lucky, man. This is so awesome. So I'm gonna do two comparisons with this one because obviously this one was never released before. So I have an original World Race Slingshot here, and I also have this custom that I've had in my collection for a long time now. But we'll start with the World Race one. So the original Slingshot tooling, as you can see, there is space between these two parts here. Now it is a closed spoiler, but the way it was put together before, you had a rivet in the front, and this was also metal body, metal base. Now it's metal body, plastic base. There is a slot right there where that's slotted in, and you can, this purple right there, you can see there's a bar that holds the interior in place, and that's how you get this kind of floating rear end. The exhaust pipes here and the headers are a part of the interior piece, which on the new one is now just a part of the base. So whatever color the base is what this is. However, on here, it's the interior. So as you can see, there's the difference. You put a rivet right there, and in order to get that rivet in there, they had to close this spoiler and put the rivet down through there, which, yeah, it sucks, but it's been like 10 years now that this retool has been around, so I'm kind of used to it by now. So yeah, there's the original casting versus the new one. Here's the, it's a custom I did a long time ago. I had help with the graphics. I think Miguel Martinez designed the graphics, and then Descartes 96 put them on for me. But I got big wheels in the back. I put bigger size wheels in the back so that I could, you know, raise the rear end and like kind of give it a better rake as it was sitting very flat. So here's my custom versus the new one. It's actually kind of crazy how similar they look to each other. As you can see there, we got more of the logos on top of the panel here where it's missing. And then I think there's none on the side on the custom, but then there is some on the side on the new one. So that's kind of funny. But yeah, you can see the decals just look more crisp on the official one, of course. Yeah, there's the base. Yeah, I had to compare it to a custom because the Teku Slingshot was never released before. Well, that is until now. And now I know it's what you all want to see. Here we go, here we go. The official Teku Dior 2 and official Teku Slingshot together. Oh, it's so cool to finally get these two in frame together. But there they are. That was the 2024 NFT Garage Redeemable Dior 2. Now with the 2025 Teku Slingshot from the Silver Series. Ah, it's so cool. All we need is the Roadrunner, guys. Hot Wheels, if you're watching this, any of the designers, this is what we want next. This is a custom done by Miguel Martinez. We want the Roadrunner next. I know you're gonna have to retool it to put the blower and the side pipes on, but you gotta complete the trio, man. All right, now that Slingshot is pretty much had its showcase, let's move on to car number 3.
Let's move some metal.
Number 3 is Torquematics's Hollowback on Team Metal Maniacs. And I was a bit worried about this one at first because of the fact that it's been retooled and you know, they changed the tooling quite a bit. But they inkjetted a lot of details on this one and they made it look pretty good. But before we get into that, let's take a quick look at our packaging here. And man, Torque, he's just like Kurt. He's mogging, bro. Bro looking fly. Of course, Wheel of Power in the background there. We got the nice render of the car. Weirdly, the front grille does not have a silver trim around it like it does on the diecast and in the show. So that's kind of strange, but it does have the spoilers in the front, but they are not black like in the show. The diecast never had the spoilers in the front. But yeah, there's the packaging, 305. You've seen it, you know what it looks like. Let's get to the car, that's what we all want to see. Now, the packaging got pretty messed up there, but yep, there's the Metal Maniacs logo. All right, here's Hollowback all out of its packaging, and this thing looks good. We'll get it up on the turntable. We've got a dark red plastic body, not painted. We got a Zamac metal base, chrome interior, a smoked out window piece, which was originally clear on the prototype they showed at the convention. I remember bringing that up, but they did fix it. It is now smoked out like it is in the show. And we got what looks to be Tampo graphics on the sides and then inkjet on the front and rear end. The wheels are these Silver Series 5-spoke wheels. They're in black with a chrome trim, but for some reason they didn't make the spokes chrome. I don't know why they did that. Looks kind of weird. I feel like these wheels would look a lot better if they had the chrome spokes. But nevertheless, I guess I'll just have to settle for this. This is the Hollowback retool, which is different from the original Hollowback casting, and we'll get to that once we get to the comparison. But this one has a lot more screen accurate details. The red is a lot darker, like it is in the show. And of course, we got the front grille detailed there in inkjet printing with the silver or black. Got the headlights, and the hood is black like it is in the show, as well as the trunk. However, they didn't make the rear spoiler black as it is in the show. They only did the trunk, which looks kind of weird. It looks a little incomplete, but I don't know if that has anything to do with like budgetary limitations or surface area limitations. Also, the tail lights are not detailed, which is a shame, but there's so much ink jetting on this car that I can understand maybe they only had so much surface space that they could use. I don't really know how that works. Now, the graphic on the side is, it's still inaccurate. Apparently, all these graphics were done by Andreas, and he did say that they dug through the archives to find some of these old graphics and kind of rework them to work on their modern tech. And I think as a result, they ended up getting an inaccurate graphic for this. Now, this is a nitpick, but here is the very first early release of Hollowback, and you can see here now the outline of the graphic is much more rough kind of texture to it. This is accurate to the movie. This is how the graphic looked in the movie. It had this rough outline texture, this very rugged look. So this very early like pearlescent light red version is how the car was first released 2005 early in the line, and then later in the line they switched to this satin red, and the graphics are now this smooth outline with silver, as you can see here. So let me kind of compare these, kind of put these together and compare it. You see the difference? So this is how it appeared on screen, the graphics, and then they kind of carried on with this on the toys for whatever reason. And I think this is the graphic they dug up because that's the graphic they used again. It was also like that on the NFT from 2024, but it's a nitpick. You know, I don't want to complain too much. We did beg 20 years for this to happen, so it is pretty cool to finally see Hollowback back. This is definitely one of my favorites of the Metal Maniacs, a very cool modern muscle car. Very ahead of its time too. This was 2005. It's sort of almost got a Mopar look in the front there with that grille. But since we have the old castings out, let's compare them. So as you can see, very different. There was some variations of the original Hollowback, but this is mostly what it looked like. It came in this satin red. Like I mentioned before, there was an earlier light red and pearlescent one that was more kind of plasticky and shiny looking. But for comparison's sake, we'll just do this one. So the engine here, the front engine and grille are connected. This is a separate piece that is tucked and slotted in the front there. It has a rivet on the front, and then on the back, it's slotted through, as you can see right there. Of course, they had to change that on the retool. So they made this part going over this like this intake thing. I don't know what you would call it, but these things going over the engine here is part of the body now, and so is the grille. So on most mainline releases of Hollowback, all of this is mostly just left unpainted. But here, because of the inkjet printing, they were able to inkjet all the details and cover them up, which I think looks really nice. Even if the silver doesn't exactly match the chrome of the engine poking through from the interior, I appreciate the effort. Now, unfortunately, it is red from the side, as you can see here. So it does look a little funky, but I understand they can only put it on the top surface. They also put a rivet right here and changed that tab. And in order to get that rivet through, they had to make the fan here on the, which used to be on the interior, as now part of the body. And this also usually goes unpainted on main lines, but they went through the effort to inkjet it silver on here. So I do appreciate that sort of effort. Just make this look a little better and kind of plug up some of the holes in the retool, which doesn't always look the best in my opinion. They did it. They made the retool look good. I'm so impressed. Another difference that I don't really understand here is that this side part here, the side pipes, this is part of the interior. As you can see, there is a part break there between the interior piece and the base. And now it's all a part of the base except for the exhaust tip, which pokes out from the interior. So the exhaust tip is much bigger and more square now. It looks a little different, as you can see. I'm really not sure why that change was made. So there they are side by side. Of course, it was re-released in 2006, like this with the CM6 wheels. All the 2006 releases of this re-release Hollowback had the CM6s in the satin. Of course, this is not really anything different except for the wheels. I just kind of wanted to show that. Here it is in comparison with the light red early pearlescent Hollowback. You can see it's very sparkly, but this is the lightest red one available, so you can really see kind of the difference in the color, how much darker the new one is in comparison to the old lighter red one. In fact, the window piece is even darker on the new one. You can't see the interior as well. Well, unless you look in the open side window, but yeah, it's actually darker on this one. I don't know if this is more screen accurate, it might be, but it looks cool. Actually, our background has a Hollowback on it. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, I mean, the window's pretty dark there. I guess that is kind of accurate. Oh, they didn't put the little orange parts underneath the grill there. They didn't do that. But yeah, they definitely got the color more accurate, that more dark, dirty red. But we're not done yet. There's another Hollowback I want to compare it to, and it's this one. This was the New York Toy Fair Hollowback. This was exclusive to the New York Toy Fair. You can see it right there, New York Toy Fair 2005. And it's got the smooth graphics. It's got these real rider tires, wheels. It's got some extra details. You can see the side pipe is actually shaded in there. And it's got the black hood, and they actually did the hood pins too, which is interesting. And so since this is the second Hollowback to have the black hood, I wanted to show that off. I think the matte finish on this one just definitely looks way better. Even the interior is detailed. You can see it's black and gray. There's the rear end. And this one actually detailed the taillights as well. These two are probably the best Hollowbacks that they've done. Now, I do prefer the wheels on this one. I think the wheels, they got the wheels right on this one. But yeah, this one has a lot of details. This part here being silver is not, that part's not supposed to be silver. I don't know why they did that. But then on this one, they made this part right here on the door silver, which is correct. But if you wanted to see those two side by side, there you go. And there is the front grille fully detailed. The grill is even like graded. The part break of the grill just looks much better. Yeah, it's not gonna look as good as how it did back in the day, but it's the effort that counts. This is the best they can do. I can put up with it, you know? There's that black hood again. One more time for the grill on the original, just left completely chrome. So we do have a little bit more detail, even though this is a retool. We do have a bit more detail. It does feel lighter. Feels lighter. This is more heavy. So, you know, it feels cheaper in the hand, but what are you gonna do? This one is still probably gonna be better on the track through the loops, curves, and jumps and whatnot than this one, although this one would smoke this one in the downhill drag strip. All right, moving on to the next car.
Destroy all the humans.
Whoo, man, is there a lot to talk about with this one. This is the RDO9 Galorum's car, Here is the artwork, a very cool render of Iridium 9 there. The colors are looking nice and accurate there on the artwork. Looks a little different on the toy, but we'll get to that in a sec. You can see the illustration of Galorum here. And you guys know the gist with the packaging by now, so let's get Iridium 9 out of the package. Here is Iridium 9 out of its package. Onto the turntable, it has a black plastic body, black painted metal base. It has a green window piece, chrome interior, and the engine piece on the back is unpainted metal Zamac. It has green AS6 wheels with the chrome rim. This casting was originally designed by Dwayne Vance, and Dwayne has come back with this set to sort of redo Iridium 9 a little bit. So it's retooled, but not for cost reasons, just for more design reasons. So we got the plastic body here. You can see this is part of the base here on the side, and the fins here are part of the metal base. So this one has a lot more metal to it, so it is heavier than a lot of the other cars. This one is definitely one of the premium spots used in this set because the rivet does come down from the metal engine part through to the base, which I don't think they can do that. This construction doesn't follow the manufacturing standards for the basics. There's a rivet down here through the front. I think maybe we should just get to a comparison here because this is the original Iridium 9 right here. So let's talk about the differences. There's a graphic right here, and it's not like that in the movie. It's like this in the movie with the graphic here on the fin. Now, the original AcceleRacers all used tampos, so they couldn't tampo the fins here as they're part of the base. They can only tampo the body. Since this is like semi-premium, they were able to get the graphics on the fin. I can't really tell if it's tampos or if it's inkjet printing. Whatever the case, it looks really good though. So we might as well just get the casting differences out of the way. Obviously the engine has been redone a bit. This one's chrome and this one's gray. But as you can see, the design is slightly different there. Now, the part where the rivet comes down in the front used to be under the window. Now it is above the window as sort of like an intake scoop. This isn't accurate to the movie, but it does look cool. And the biggest difference, Dwayne Vance had said he was never happy with the way the rear engine of this turned out originally. So given the opportunity to redo it, he took said opportunity. Now this on the right here is screen accurate. This is not. So, but yeah, I do think from a design standpoint, it does look a bit better. So, you know, give and take. But here is the new engine, and this is all metal Zamac onto the rear end here. I believe this part in the rear here is actually part of the chrome interior, which is the same for the original. The interior on the original is gray. So there is the rear end. As you can see, there's just a lot more detail in the engine of the new one there. The coloring is a little bit different. The color of the windows is very slightly different green. Another difference in the tooling is that the window where it meets this side panel here, this is flush, whereas on the new one, there is like a dip there. There's a lip, but yeah, there is a lip here. Yeah, now you can see it, yeah, where the window meets the side panel. So here is the side windows side by side. And then of course the colors of the tampos are a little different as it was this more lighter color in the show. So there is the updated Iridium 9, very cool release. Of course there's the original Iridium 9 if you want to sort of get a comparison. We'll do some comparison shots of these two together. While I have the Iridium 9 out, here is a prototype. I put the wheels on. This originally came without wheels, so don't get freaked out by the wheels. Yes, there is a piece of tape holding this thing together because it is unspun. This is a prototype of this new Iridium 9. I got this a long time ago. I didn't tell anybody. It has a blue interior there. You can actually see the interior details a lot more on this prototype. So yeah, it's all come full circle now that I have finally have the final release in my hands as well as the prototype. Forgot to compare the front grille here, but it is mostly the same. The funny part about having this prototype right here is I also have a prototype of the original Iridium 9. So here is that. This is in a Barbie skin plastic. This is the same plastic they use for skin on Barbies, so they call it Barbie skins. So we've got the complete set here of both Iridium 9s and their prototypes, which is really funny. So now we can compare the prototypes. You can actually see the differences in the engines a lot better here now. There's the engines on the back. The black is just not very visible. Maybe we can get the new one out here. Now that the base is unpainted here, look, the name isn't even on the base. There's the rear end there. You can see the blue interior sticking out from the back there. So yeah, there's prototype Iridium 9s and new and old Iridium 9. Dwayne Vance has said that Iridium 9 is a blend between Lamborghini and Gundam, which, you know, I can see it. It's pretty cool. Story goes, he was sketching it on his own time during his lunch break in 2004 while they were doing AcceleRacers. And one of the other designers kind of just walked by and saw what he was doing and was like, dude, right there, that's the villain car. That's perfect for our villain car. And the rest is history. So yeah, there's Iridium 9, the villain car of the set from the team Racing Drones. Let's get on to the final car of the set, and the car most of you were probably waiting for.
Wisdom is a circle, Dr. Tesla.
What you receive, you must give back.
All right, here we go. Reverb, or as it is now called, Revert. That's right, they had to change the name. The reason they changed the name has to do with trademarks. Whenever they make a Hot Wheels original, they always have to trademark the name, but for whatever reason, Reverb was never trademarked. They were able to use the name up until like the early 2020s, until another company ended up registering the name under like every toy category. So yeah, when it appeared in Hot Wheels Unleashed 2, they called it Verts for some reason. But now they have changed the name to Revert, and I think this is a great name change, as it's very close to Reverb. All they did is change one letter. Revert is also a skateboard trick, and Vert Wheeler, this car's driver, is a skateboarder. And also, it's got Vert's name in the name. His name's Vert, Revert. So yeah, perfect rename for this casting. There is a lot to say about this casting, but before we get into it, here's just a bit of the packaging, and man, is it so nice to finally see our good friend Vert Wheeler back on the pegs in 2025. There is a nice render of the car. A cool detail that I did not point out in my packaging video is you can see the neon blue underneath. It got the neon glow because it did have that in the movie. It had the neon glow underneath. So that's pretty cool that they added that little detail there. There's the Wheel of Power. There's nice sketch of Vert Wheeler. Well, you get the whole shebang with the packaging, so let's free this guy. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Yeah, I basically have to destroy this packaging just to get it out. Come on. It's a very big car. All right, Revert. This car had the most budget of the entire set. This casting has been completely redone from the ground up by designer Ron Wong. Ron is an AcceleRacers fan himself, so he packed a lot of detail into this Reverb. Here's the base. You see copyright 2025 because of the casting change. I know it's called Revert now, but I don't know. I still just call it Reverb. Getting it down on the turntable, this is an enamel dark blue metal body, unpainted metal base. That's right. This is a metal on metal AcceleRacers casting. It's all metal. It is super heavy. It is a brick, which is just so cool. We got an orange window piece, which is also the headlights and the rear engine housing. What I believe is a chrome interior. And then we got the blue AS6 wheels with the chrome rim. Oh man, this thing just looks so good, and it's so movie accurate. Reverb is a supercar, a hypercar. It is the last car that Vert Wheeler drives in the series. Vert Wheeler races against Galorem in her Iridium 9, so it's cool that these two cars have been released together in the Ultimate Race, the last movie. Yeah, maybe we should just bring the original Reverb into frame here. So Reverb came in two color variations originally. There was this lighter blue anodized aluminum one, and then there was a darker blue anodized aluminum one. So I don't know if that shows up on the camera, but those are different. I guess we'll go with the darker blue one for the sake of this video. So here is the original Reverb casting, and here is the Revert. So right away, you can see a lot of differences here. Let's just start with the front bumper. He made the front bumper much lower on the new version, as that's how it is in the movie. It was raised on the original so that it could clear loops and curves and stuff on the track. So this one might be a bit more track compatible than this one. This one is more geared towards the collector. Of course, this is an anodized aluminum coating for its paint finish, and this is just an enamel blue on a metal body. This is a plastic body, metal base. He put side mirrors on the new one, and on the original, the engine in the back and the headlights were a part of the interior piece. However, they were orange in the movies. So he changed the casting to have the headlights and this rear engine part be a part of the window piece. However, it made this clear. So on the interior piece, he put an actual engine in the back, changing it so that this is like an engine housing and not the engine itself. And the actual engine is down there in the interior. And it's a really cool detail. The engine in the back is actually the 7-liter beryllium V12 engine that is described in the Meet the Cars bonus feature on the DVD.
High-tech and cutting-edge style come together in this 1,100 horsepower beryllium-powered aluminum animal.
What an awesome detail. And in the engine, he put this Acceleron insignia, and this is kind of a staple of Ron Wong's castings. There was another casting he did for an Iron Man playset called Repulsor Blast, which also had this in the engine. So it's kind of a callback to that, you know, kind of the start of Ron's career and now where Ron's career is currently at. So it's all come full circle. So, you know, at first I was a little like iffy about this change, but now I totally dig it. The car also has taillights now. The original did not have taillights, as you can see, but in the show, it did have little circle taillights just like this, and they have been detailed in red. So there's the rear end for you. We gotta talk about the base because there's also a bunch of new details on the base. The most notable being the jump jets. He actually included the jump jets on the base, which is super cool. The original did not have that. As well as the neon light bars here on the sides, above and below these jump jets, which the original also did not have. He just made it a lot more accurate to how it appears in the show. There's that one shot when Reverb is jump jetting out of the trash compactor in the junk realm, and you see the bottom. And yeah, it looks like this. So he really went out of his way to make this as detailed as possible. And I believe all the graphics on this are inkjet printed. I can tell, yeah, because it's got that sort of pixely kind of digital look to it where it's like dotted. But the good news is it won't scratch off, at least not as easy as a Tampo. Yeah, this thing just feels really good in the hands. Just a premium feeling casting overall. Here it is with the lighter blue variation. As you can see, color is way different. And the darker variation, this blue is just much more accurate to what appeared on screen. There are also subtle differences like the graphics here on the side. You see how the end of the T here only makes it so far up the side? Well, on this one, it goes way up the side, and that's how it is in the show. Even like the scaling of the graphics is like accurate to how it appears in the show. It's like, the attention to detail on this Reverb is just crazy. And Ron Wong, bro, you knocked it out of the park. You did such a good job. And I am so happy that Reverb can finally be picked up by the casual fan at a Walmart for only about $4. Because as you know, the original Reverb goes for some crazy, ridiculous prices these days that are just, in my opinion, not warranted. I'm not going to make this a rant video about eBay prices, but it is so important that we get these kinds of re-releases because, man, I'm just so happy that so many fans are getting a second chance to get some of their favorite cars from AcceleRacers. Whether they're a collector or just a fan of the show, I couldn't be more happy that this set is finally released, and we finally got re-releases of the AcceleRacers cars. So here is all of the new Silver Series AcceleRacers cars together, loose, on the review table. If you want a really cool and cheap way to display your Silver Series AcceleRacers once you get them in your area, I recommend checking out these 3D printed displays done by IMC Creations, aka Batman MX77. However, he does not sell them on platforms like eBay or Etsy. He actually has an order form to fill out. If you want these, they are $10 a piece, which is a very nice, generous price, especially for the high quality that these are. He has one for all 5 cars in the Silver Series, as well as some other AcceleRacers cars and some Hot Wheels logos. He plans on doing more in the future. So if you're interested in these, I'll put a link in the description for you guys, maybe a card suggestion pop up. He's been very generous to send me these to show off for you guys, so I thought I should include them in this video here. I think we should probably put some of the other AcceleRacers releases from the past 2 years on the display here. We've got the NFT Diora 2, the Teku Diora 3, the mainline Teku Diora 2, and the mainline RD06 from this year. So there we go, all of the modern AcceleRacers together. This is all the new releases they have done since 2024. And guys, I cannot stress enough how important it is that we come out to the stores, buy these off the pegs, and support this. The Hot Wheels team has told me that if this set sells well, they will do more. Potentially, we could get another set of these with like a chicane, which would be awesome because of how much that one costs. Maybe we could even get a Roadrunner. And they said if this sells well, maybe in the pipeline we could have a full premium Revert with CM6 wheels, actual 2-piece CM6 wheels in the pop culture line. Mattel is actually looking at the sales for this and using this as a testing grounds to gauge the demand for AcceleRacers. This is not rumor, this is confirmed. So guys, I can't stress enough how important it is that we buy these and that we make those sales numbers go up, because that's what they want to see. Cold, hard numbers. We can give these as much hype as we want, but they want to see the numbers. So I can't stress enough how high the stakes are. Everything is hinging on this set. This is going to determine the future of AcceleRacers. So this is a call to action. If you are an AcceleRacers fan and you want to see a future for AcceleRacers, go out to your local Walmart when these sets start hitting your area and buy them up. Buy them up. Don't worry about what everybody says about, oh, you only need this much or you only need that much. Buy what you want. It's your money. You found them. If you want to leave some for others, come back later. If they're still sitting there, clear out the pegs. We cannot let these cars peg warm, because in the general Hot Wheels collecting space, there is a prejudice for fantasy cars. They will try to call these trash peg warmers, but we have to prove them wrong. So guys, it's up to you. Don't pay the scalpers on eBay. Don't pay the ridiculous prices. Head out to your local store. Be persistent, be patient. You'll eventually find yourself a set. If you struggle, reach out to your local collecting scene. Network with some other collectors in your area. Maybe get some help with some friends online. Let's all just kind of help each other out, and let's all have a chance to get a set here. It's gonna be awesome. I'm super excited for this set. This is the most exciting time to be an AcceleRacers fan since the AcceleRacers series came out 20 years ago. So if you want to see AcceleRacers go on, if you want to see a future for Hot Wheels fantasy, take the time and take the effort to seek these things out. I'm telling you, it's worth it. They're cool products. This is not sponsored by Mattel. I wouldn't tell you to buy something that I wouldn't buy myself. And I think these cars are awesome. They're not perfect, but nothing is perfect. The Hot Wheels team thinks AcceleRacers is cool, and they're really putting in the work for us to try and give us some cool stuff like this. So again, for the last time, let's support it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's about it for this review. I'm AcceleReece. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for watching this far into the video. This is AcceleReece of Tesla's Cube signing off. Happy hunting, guys, and take care. Peace out.